When I moved into apartment 407, the landlord gave me one strange rule. If you hear knocking from apartment 408, don't answer. I laughed. Why? He didn't laugh back. Because 408 has been empty for 3 years. That was my first warning. I should have listened. I had moved to Chicago for work and needed a cheap apartment quickly. The building was old, 4 floors high, with narrow hallways, stained carpets, and an elevator that sounded like it was going to break every time it moved. But apartment 407 was affordable, so I signed the lease. The first night, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Around 2 a.m., I woke up because I heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow footsteps. Someone walked past my door, then stopped. I waited. Nothing. A few seconds later, I heard 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. I remembered the landlord's warning. Apartment 408. I didn't move. Then I heard a woman's voice from the other side of my wall. Hello? I froze. The voice was soft, almost whispering. Can you hear me? I stayed silent. Then she knocked again. Knock. 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 I didn't answer. After about a minute, the footsteps moved away. I eventually fell asleep. The next morning, I asked the landlord about it. He looked uncomfortable. You heard something? Someone knocked from 408. He sighed. Probably pipes. You said 408 was empty. It is. Then who was knocking? He didn't answer. Instead, he said, just don't open the door. I thought he was being dramatic, until the next night. At exactly 2:17 a.m., I heard the knocking again. 3 knocks. Knock. 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 Then the woman's voice. Please. I sat in bed. Please open the door. I could hear her clearly. She sounded frightened. I walked toward my apartment door. Then I stopped. The landlord's warning came back to me. Don't answer. I looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty, but I could hear breathing, right outside my door. Then she whispered, I know you're there. I stepped backward. The breathing stopped. I waited. Nothing. I didn't sleep again that night. The next morning, I asked the building manager for the history of apartment 408. He hesitated. Then he finally said, a woman lived there. What happened to her? She died. When? 3 years ago. How? He looked toward the hallway. She was found inside the apartment. Natural causes? No. His voice became quieter. She was murdered. I felt a cold sensation in my stomach. Who killed her? They never found out. I asked why the apartment had remained empty. He said, because nobody wants to live there. That evening, I searched online. I found an old local news article. The headline read, Young woman found dead in Chicago apartment. Her name was Emily Carter, age 29. She had lived in apartment 408. The article said neighbors had reported hearing a woman screaming at approximately 2:17 a.m. Police arrived later that night. Emily was found dead. There were no signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, no suspect. The case remained unsolved. I stared at the screen. 2:17 a.m. That was exactly when I'd heard the knocking. I closed my laptop. I told myself it was a coincidence. That night, I went to bed early. At 2:17 a.m., I woke up. 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. This time, the knocking wasn't coming from the hallway. It was coming from inside my bedroom wall. I sat up. Then I heard Emily's voice. Help me. I turned on the light. Nothing. The voice came again. Please help me. I got out of bed. The sound seemed to be coming from the wall beside my closet. I put my ear against it. Silence. Then suddenly, bang, I jumped backward. Something hit the wall from the other side. I ran out of my apartment. The hallway was empty. I knocked on my neighbor's door. An elderly man named Mr. Harris opened it. He looked at me. "You heard her." I stared at him. "You know about this?" He nodded. "She knocks every night." "Why didn't you tell me?" "People don't believe me." "What does she want?" He looked toward apartment 408. "She wants someone to open the door." I asked, "Why?" He whispered, "She wants to get out." The next morning, I decided to leave. I packed my bags. I called my boss and told him I needed a few days off. I was going to stay in a hotel until I found another apartment. But when I opened my front door, I found something on the floor, a photograph. It showed a young woman, Emily. She was standing inside apartment 408, but someone had written something on the back. "He is still here." I didn't understand. I turned the photograph over again. There was another line underneath. "He moved into 407. My blood ran cold. I immediately called the landlord. He didn't answer. I called the police. They told me to wait. I didn't. I went downstairs. The building manager was sitting at his desk. I showed him the photograph. His face turned pale. "Where did you get that?" "It was outside my apartment." He stared at me, then he whispered, "You need to leave." "Who is he?" He didn't answer. "Who killed Emily?" He looked toward the elevator. Then he said, "The landlord." I stared at him. "What?" He was obsessed with her. "What happened?" "She tried to leave." The manager lowered his voice. "He killed her." I felt sick. Then why is he still here? He owns the building. I looked toward the stairs. Where is he now? The manager pointed upstairs, 4th floor. I ran. I reached apartment 408. The door was locked. I knocked. Nothing. Then I heard the landlord's voice. "Who is it?" I stepped backward. I ran toward 407. My hands were shaking as I opened my door. Inside, everything looked normal, except my bedroom door was open. I knew I had closed it. I walked inside. On my bed was another photograph. This one showed me sleeping. I stared at it. Someone had taken the picture from inside my apartment. The date was yesterday. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. Nobody. Then the closet door slowly opened. I backed away. A woman's voice whispered, "Don't trust him." I recognized it. "Emily, where are you?" No answer. "Emily?" The closet door slammed shut. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. The landlord's voice said, "You've been asking too many questions." I froze. "How did you get my number?" Silence. Then he said, "Come to 408. The call ended. I immediately called the police again. This time, they told me officers were on the way. I waited in my apartment. 5 minutes later, I heard someone walking down the hallway. Slow footsteps. They stopped outside my door. 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Then the landlord spoke. "Open the door." I didn't answer. "It's me." I stayed silent. Then his voice changed. It became Emily's voice. "Please open the door." I stepped away from the door. Then a loud bang hit it. "Open the door." I grabbed a chair and pushed it against the handle. Another bang. The door shook. Then silence. I looked through the peephole. Nobody. Suddenly, the lights went out. The entire building went dark. I heard screaming from upstairs. then footsteps running down the hallway. Someone knocked on my door. "Help me." It was the landlord. His voice sounded terrified. "Please." I didn't move. Then he screamed. A woman's voice whispered directly outside my door, "You should have left." The landlord screamed again. Then everything went silent. The lights came back on. I waited several minutes before opening the door. The hallway was empty, but there was blood on the carpet. It led toward apartment 408. I didn't touch it. The police arrived a few minutes later. They searched the building. They found the landlord inside apartment 408. He was unconscious. He had suffered severe injuries, but there was no sign of anyone else. The strangest part, apartment 408 was locked from the inside. The police questioned me. I told them everything. They searched my apartment. Then they found something behind my closet, a hidden door. I had never seen it before. It led directly into apartment 408. The police opened it. Inside the room, they found dozens of photographs, pictures of Emily, pictures of previous tenants, pictures of people sleeping. The landlord had been watching everyone. He had cameras hidden throughout the building. Then they found Emily's diary. The final entry was dated the night she died. It said, "He knows I found the cameras. If anything happens to me, it was him." The police arrested the landlord. The case was finally solved. But there was one question nobody could answer. Who had attacked him? He refused to talk. He simply kept repeating, "She came through the wall." After that night, I moved out. I never returned to apartment 407. For almost a year, I didn't think about Emily. Then, one winter night, I received a package. There was no return address. Inside was a photograph. I immediately recognized it. Apartment 407, my old bedroom. The picture had been taken from the hallway. On the back was a message, "Thank you for listening." I threw it away. 3 days later, another photograph arrived. This one showed apartment 408. The room was empty, except for a woman standing beside the window. Emily, she was looking directly at the camera. On the back, he wasn't the only one. I didn't understand, until I searched the building's history again. Before Emily lived there, another woman had died in apartment 408, and before her, another. 3 women. Same apartment. Same time. 2:17 a.m. All 3 had reported hearing knocking from inside the walls. All 3 had claimed a woman was speaking to them. And all 3 had died under mysterious circumstances. The landlord hadn't started the haunting. He had only taken advantage of it. Whatever was inside apartment 408 had been there long before him. A week later, I moved to another state. I changed my phone number. I never told anyone my new address. For a while, everything was peaceful. Then one night, at exactly 2:17 a.m., I woke up. 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. I froze. I was no longer in Chicago. I was in my new house. There was no apartment 408, no shared walls, no old building, no landlord, just me. The knocking came again, this time, from inside my bedroom wall. I slowly turned toward it. A woman's voice whispered, "Are you still there?" I couldn't breathe. Then the wall made a sound, like something scratching from the other side, slowly, carefully, trying to get through. I moved away from the wall. The scratching stopped. Then I heard 3 words, "I found you." I ran outside. I called the police. They searched the house. Nothing. No hidden room. No person. No explanation. I eventually convinced myself that stress had caused me to imagine it. Until the next morning, I found a photograph on my kitchen table. It showed my bedroom, taken while I was sleeping, and standing beside my bed was Emily. But she wasn't looking at me. She was looking toward the wall. Behind her, Written across the photograph in black ink were 4 words: "Don't open apartment 408." I stared at the picture. I didn't understand. Then my phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. There was only one sentence: "There is no apartment 408 anymore." A second message arrived: "Because now it's apartment 407." I dropped the phone. From inside my bedroom wall came 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Then a woman's voice whispered, "Open the door." I never did, and to this day, whenever the clock reaches 2:17 a.m., I stay away from every wall in my house, because sometimes I still hear her knocking, and sometimes I hear another voice answering from inside the wall, a man's voice, whispering, "She isn't asking anymore."